So for me, I'm always asking, like, when did this start? Was there a trauma in your life? Was there a travel, right? So sometimes we'll see that a lot of this gut shift or dysbiosis can happen after someone got food poisoning. Maybe they went to Mexico and got a parasite, or you can actually get them anywhere. You could eat sushi down the street and get a parasite. You know what I mean? Like, you could pick up these things.
Liz, I wanted to talk about another part of your story, those 64 shots of orange laxative juice. It actually reminded me of my aunt. So she also currently as well, she has chronic constipation. I hope she's not watching this. But basically I'm constantly trying to understand how it is I can help her when it comes to maybe giving her like 2 kiwis a day, because I know that helps. I know you even talked about that. Or is it just like is it just more movement? I know some people they literally massage their stomach to make sure they can stimulate the bowel movements. Or is it just overall just taking less stress when you're eating to make sure that overall movement of food contents through the GI tract is optimal? I tried everything, but still I fear that there is a very strong dependency that's occurred, and that this is something that's shared with a lot of people across the world, where there is like a dependency on the laxative, so much so that you kind of lose faith in your body to do its natural functions. And like, for example, she had like this retreat over in India, in Bangalore, and in there it's like a cleanse where they give you like wheatgrass juice. They really make sure you're fully cleansed and everything. And she was given strong instructions to don't go out and eat anything from outside. Like, you have to be in the simulated environment. And she kept like, like those small tablets of milk of magnesia, because she's like, just in case, I don't know if I have faith in, in my ability to be able to go. And that's where I really felt like there's a problem. Like, how is it that for these specific niche, for this specific problem, how can we help people increase their faith in their ability to restore their natural function?
Yeah. So it's multifaceted. The first thing is mindset, right? So it's very, very common and understandable for people to have this like health PTSD. Nothing is worse than being, as I remember, stuck on the toilet, feeling like you need to go. You know you have to poop because it's a lot in there and you're bloated and you're gassy and it's uncomfortable, but you can't go, right? Nothing more miserable than that. I mean, there are other things like crazy abdominal pain, gallbladder attacks, whatever, but especially when you're on vacation. So we have to get into a healing mindset. And we have to do that in part by showing ourselves that we are taking action. You can't just manifest yourself into being unconstipated. That's not going to work. So you have to take the actions and do some investigation. So for me, I'm always asking, like, when did this start? Was there a trauma in your life? Was there a travel, right? So sometimes we'll see that a lot of this gut shift or dysbiosis can happen after someone got food poisoning. Maybe they went to Mexico and got a parasite, or you could actually get them anywhere. You could eat sushi down the street and get a parasite. You know what I mean? Like, you could pick up these things. Did you have the norovirus? Did you have the flu? Did you have COVID? What happened prior to this shifting? If you can think of that, a stress in your life, maybe a childbirth, maybe a divorce, maybe a loss of a loved one, maybe caring for a loved one, whatever, right? That this could be classified under. So that is, kind of starting to think there, okay, and then how did I respond? And then I always say, like, evaluate your inputs and your routine. So we'll get to the morning routine and things in a moment, but what you mentioned earlier in terms of like eating hygiene, what we eat matters. Yes. At the same time, how we eat also matters maybe even more, because we can see Karan Krishnov, he's a microbiologist that I just adore, and I've done some training with him and whatnot. He was recently speaking about 55 to 60% of people can resolve their symptoms if they would just get into rest and digest, undistracted, focused eating, right? So let's think about this from a science perspective in layman's terms. Right now, if you're listening to this, I want you to think about your favorite meal. So for me, I love pad thai. It's a healthy version. It's in my cookbook, but I love pad thai. Okay, so let's say I know I'm going to make pad thai for dinner tonight. I'm looking forward to that. I'm starting to salivate because I'm thinking about it. It's a north to south process with digestion, and it starts in your brain. Your brain starts to think about that. Ooh, okay, so let's start to salivate, give us some digestive enzymes in our saliva, and then that's going to trickle down and that's going to tell our stomach acid, all right, let's prepare to ingest this food because we're going to need to break that down. We're going to need to protect ourselves from things that maybe aren't fully cooked in this food. Or Marcus stuck his hand in it because he'll just sometimes come up and like eat off my plate with his hands. Why this boy loves eating with his hands, I don't know. But, so it's a north to south process. And so that's part of what we call our chemical digestion. In that, we also have our mechanical digestion, and that's just your teeth. And that is you chewing your food well. I have to be intentional about this, and I am not perfect with this. I even posted on my social media a few weeks ago that I got called out when I was eating my rice cake, peanut butter, and banana on the way to this conference room because I ran out of time and I was hungry. And the guy says, would you tell your clients to do that? I was like, dang it. No, I wouldn't. So really, we want to think about sit down with your meals, look at it, be thankful for it. Maybe you pray over it, right? You set your fork down between bites. You really savor and chew that food and think about all the different flavors there. You're not on your phone. You're not in front of the TV. You're not at your desk and the computer. And again, I'm saying all this and saying at the same time, you have to be cognizant of this because most people are always in a rush. We're eating a protein bar, running out the door. We're eating in our car. We're going to Starbucks. And then, on this commute, you're just not in that rest and digest state. And so you're not going to have optimal digestion. And if you say, I don't have any of those problems and I eat in front of the TV all the time or whatever, it'll catch up to you. So think about that as a starting place. Of course, food quality, as we already mentioned, but further up, stream in terms of your day and timing, colon cleansing time in Chinese medicine is 5 to 7 a.m. So if you're waking up, like I wake up, well, Ethan dictates my schedule right now, but most days, if I were just to wake up on my own, I get up about 5:30. I like to be slow and I like to read and I have my red light and then I'll have a bowel movement within maybe 30 minutes or something. You could have a little lemon water that can stimulate bile, wake up digestion. You want to have water, especially with electrolytes. So some salt in there is great too. Potassium is amazing for poo. So higher potassium foods or adding potassium, adding coconut water can also be very helpful. So in that morning time, give yourself time to get the sensation to go. You can do the I love you massage. I have a lot of videos on this, but 10 up the right side, 10 across, and then 10 down, and then circulate into around the belly button clockwise with your small intestine. So you're giving some of that, yes, manual manipulation and movement there. If you've got a red light, that can be amazing for inflammation as well. You can do cold therapy, getting blood flow, target that cold stream of water onto your stomach area, also onto your spine to support vagal tone. There's a lot of things that we could do in this morning routine, but I think pick one, start simple. Warm liquids can also be very stimulating. So you might choose to warm up your water and then put the lemon and the salt and maybe some potassium, so that could be helpful. Or like a liver detox tea. There are some teas that can support, but we don't want to become reliant on, when you think of like senna, a lot of people will do that. And just, it's kind of iffy in the research. Some say, nah, it's not going to create reliance. Others say yes. Or people say, I try it, it works, and then it stops. Your body, it's going to get lazy. If you're just constantly, chugging Miralax or milk of magnesia or just anything over time, you don't want to just shut down the cues and not have to have your muscles contract and work and move. So maybe you rotate some of these things. It doesn't have to look the same every morning, but start your day, let your body get the signal. Again, you're hopefully there being calm. Because if you're on the opposite side of that, where like you're missing your alarm clock and your kids are jumping in your bed, and it's just like, I always say a fire drill in the morning, unless you are someone who errs on the side of, oh shit, I gotta go poo, and then I have urgent like diarrhea, you're probably just going to be on lockdown because your nervous system is not at all concerned about you digesting food or pooping and being comfortable because you want to look lean and fit and not have that lower belly, issue, gas or whatever. It's just thinking about keeping you, alive and functioning with your heart, your brain, your oxygen, those types of things.
Where can people learn more about you?
Yeah. So of course, Instagram at the Poop Queen. But I also have a big podcast as well, the Health Revival Show. We are going to hit our 1,000th episode here soon, which is really crazy. We've been podcasting 3 times a week for the past 6 years. It is amazing what podcasts, can do and allow us to share education around the world. So that's a resource for you on our website, fitmom.co. We have a ton of stuff. We've got guides, a lot of free resources. You can see my team there about our program, what we do. You can schedule a call if you'd like to do that. And then we do have Fit Mom Society, which is our private community. In that community, I've put some different courses. So one very popular one is our Holistic Heartburn Healing Solutions course. You can access that 7 days free. But then after that, it is a monthly subscription, cancel anytime. And then all of our practitioners are in there as well for questions. As long as it's within scope, we are more than happy to answer and help people and guide them